So this is going to be a review of the map pack for the current North America Cup, which is a regional competition, obviously, for North America. And it's a pretty good map pack for regional competition. And this will hopefully be a useful resource for mappers who are trying to build for competitions, and hopefully allow you to take some notes from these tracks and learn from their mistakes, you know? I have Nick Slotica and CD here with me, and more people might join later, but we're just gonna give our opinions on the tracks. Because the first day of the competition just ended, and the second day will be tomorrow, so we have played these tracks, practiced them for a few weeks, and now played them in the competition in rounds, so we have our thoughts.
Go in reverse order then.
Right, sure. Bottom is Outer Space. Outer Space by Mime. And I'll just show the map here. And I think we agree that this is one of the best maps, right? It's either the best map or the second best map. Right, right, Nix?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably the best map.
Lynn, no clue.
Overall rounds go. And as far as I think hunting it is also good because it seems like a map that's able to be maxed a lot more.
Yeah. There's so much more possible.
Was I first coming out of the ice?
Maybe. Lingo catches up so much at the end.
I was. I'm gonna snap. Wait, no, never mind. No.
Because it's interesting seeing all those different lines there too. I really like that dirt turn.
Yeah.
And the end has that one drift can be risked. You can risk it so much.
Yeah, the dirt turn is really interesting. I think this is kind of going to be the mapping meta going forward. Is just including really hard to understand and unusual turns that are just not really bullshit, but they're just kind of unusual. Here you're dropping down into gear 2 and then gearing up right away. But it's just this weird, slightly beyond 90-degree turn. It's really interesting. Then the reactor grass as well. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
I think the one thing that's interesting about it that makes it so hard is a lot of maps tend to have a very obvious apex, but these two turns, both the grass and this dirt turn, kind of don't have an obvious apex.
Yeah, there's two apexes on this grass turn. You want to be going right here or something, and then you also want to be going right by the actual apex.
Yeah. So this is the only apex is there, and then the gate for the reset. But then there's a turn into it, so you have to kind of decide
when you have to
how hard you want to go. It's really just fighting the gear because you can lose the gear if you treat the first turn as an apex.
And I've noticed a lot of these one of the good ways to have a higher skill grass turn is to have a direction change within it.
Mm-hmm.
And also have a lot of full steering.
We'll mention later as a counter example to that the Agraboo map.
Yeah. Also full steering in grass, because one of the reasons why grass is generally easier than tech is that in tech you kind of have to commit to full steering at some point, and then if you stop you're losing time. But on grass you can usually just tap and be fine. But on a turn like this you kind of have to commit to your turn earlier. And you could say the same about the dirt, honestly. But the dirt is kind of just hard in a different way. You didn't like the start, but I think the start is fine.
I think the start's okay. I just don't like how starts in general tend to have this problem where if it's a series of left-right turns while you're still trying to get up to speed, your entry angle into it matters. I also just don't like that Mime seems to do this a lot where you're coming in to a dirt section already on a turn and it is very predicated on a previous section's exit direction.
I mean,
I don't like that much because it's kind of not something that really exists all that often, and I think it's for a good reason, but I don't know.
I feel that can not work. On Fondant by Sophie, the first dirt turn definitely had that. It was if you don't like this start, that start was an actually suspect version of this. I think this is easy enough.
Yeah, I mean it's easy enough. I think if you
also
really all you have to do is just do the first turn correct, I guess.
You don't even have to go maximum inside here, because if you go too far inside, then you're just gonna slide here anyway. So it's not like you need to be setting up here for the dirt. It's just the full.
That's kind of annoying though too, is the fact that if you do try to max that turn, like you get a little bit of airtime. But maybe I'm just being picky at this point.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I
I like
think
this
one
first
more
turret a
thing to
lot.
mention is go over to the ice, because
Oh,
we were talking about if the ice is actually good or bad to have the exit the way that it is.
so what's going on with the ice here is... Actually, I'd like to go in chronological order a bit here, because I do want to have like some chatting about the lead up to the ice as well.
Sure, yeah.
So I think this dirt combination is pretty cool.
Yeah, it forces you to drop the gear, so it's okay if you drop it,
Yeah.
like before going uphill.
And what's also interesting is that even though it's like forcing you to drop the gear, it kind of gets up to speed pretty quickly. Like it doesn't feel like there's a dull moment here, even though it's not like really full steer. You kind of just like go down here and zigzag into the tech.
Yeah.
I think the tech drift is fine. I'm not a huge fan of this grass part actually.
I found when I was hunting, a lot of the time, if you tried to maximize the tech drift, you would be slamming into the left
Yeah.
side of the grass because
like the shape of this block, it'll just push you more outside. You need to be like going more over
you need to
here
take the tech drift pretty inside actually.
and then have the transition here properly. This is like the only transition on the map that is like really decisive for your
However,
time.
I will say that actually is kind of good because if you go back to the tech section, you have to start your drift, and the most optimal line has it to where you're risking hitting your back right wheel on the drift part,
That's
like
kind of true.
the drift initiation. So I think it changes the line in a way that's more interesting, probably.
Maybe. I think it's more just like the combination of the tech turn flowing into the grass and then the grass also having this transition.
Yeah, the transition's also a little bit not bumpy, but it does make it to where you can't have a super consistent lineup. You have to
Right.
do a little bit of adjustment every time
Yeah.
before going into
You need to
the.
hit it into like a certain spot. And then like if you don't get it, this part is really weird.
Mhm.
I did clip here once, even without touching the flag, but I think that was just like a freak accident.
Probably. Also, I think one thing too is
What do you think about this block?
which block? Oh, the fact that you can fly off, I don't like.
Yeah.
I think doing a little bit of air control though is pretty cool.
I
I think more maps should be willing to do it because it is a skill. It's just the problem is
think here
okay,
specifically the
here's
air
the problem.
control is a bit odd.
Here's why it's odd, I just realized, is because air control is usually fine if going at the maximum speed won't make you fly out, or if going at any speed even well below the maximum speed will make you fly out, so you have to release no matter what. This is just in that perfect middle ground where, like,
True.
if you're going at max speed, you will have to release slightly,
Yeah.
but most times, like 9 times out of 10, you don't have to, and that was the issue I had.
Yeah, it's just like you barely start sliding here, which is really strange. This ice slide. I know I'm not good at ice, but I do have issues with this ice slide. Namely that you have to start steering it as soon as possible. And then you have to like brake right as you're like rotating your car into the turn in order to hit the apex. And then like the apex into the exit is like also kind of a little odd.
I really like that this is an ice turn where everything happens really quickly though, because I oftentimes find that like if you go into an ice turn and it's flat, you're just gonna like not be able to drift, right? You're not gonna be able to slide.
I'm gonna be
It's
honest. I think this ice slide might have just been fixed by replacing this with a snow block. Just so the apex is slightly different. CD wanted the ice turn to be going to the left, actually, which I don't know. I'm not sure that matters.
ice turn going to the left. I feel like that would just be a little too weird.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because right now with it going to the right, you're kind of incentivized to take it tighter, versus if it was going to the left, you might be incentivized to take the
Well,
the
my
turn
my
before.
my argument was that with the way that the block geometry on the exit of the like tarmac thing is that you can get airtime the way it is depending on what your line is out of there, but if you go left you'll get a more consistent entry into the ice.
Ah.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like taking a line that goes like here, you'd have better ice, but then worse airtime here. I can see that.
Yeah.
I think the apex was just kind of wonky. Like, I'm not sure if it would have improved the exit if the apex was different, but it would have improved the entry for sure. And
Hello.
Hello,
Yo.
Whiskey. We are
Yo.
recording a map review for the NA Cup maps.
Oh, who made the map?
We're looking at Mime's map right now. If you go on the
Looks-
stream, you can join us in the reviewing if
Yeah,
you want.
I'm looking. It looks cool.
This
It's a
is a
good
good map. It's probably the best one in the map pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this ice exit, honestly, if it wasn't for this clip, this would be twice as easy. Like if this
Yes.
like
Yeah,
2 meter
yes.
thing right here was just gone, this would be so much better. And then maybe make this like a round thing so you have a bit more ice to drive on before you have to be straight.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. It's like I'd have to consult an ice player though, because I always sometimes see ice players like get a little bit of a drift when they exit the ice and go onto road.
And they
Yeah,
go
that
other
could be
times-
faster. I think this is just
Yeah.
a bit too much though, like depending on your line.
Normally, it's when you're still trying to snap back. It's not after you've over rotated.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess like the lesson here is that you need to keep in mind when sometimes you don't want to have these things because they are making the line significantly more restricted. And in this case, quite difficult because you need to basically get the ice entry good, your ice brake tap good, and then your ice exit good. Otherwise, you're going to be like screwed over
second.
from like being right here. You're already screwed over for this point right here, which is just like kind of makes it a big difficulty spike in a way. I don't mind the full steer after it though. Like it's kind of cool that you're using the ice full steer because you
Yeah.
steer faster on ice
I
tires.
don't know if I'd say it's full steer though. Sometimes you have to do some adjustment.
That's true, but I think it works.
Yeah, it's just hard when you're steering after ice. It is really hard because you have to just like get rid of the icy tires in a way that's not terrible.
Yeah,
And I
honestly,
also find that like it's kind of like you're changing the turn radius throughout the entire turn. So if it's not full steer, then like you just immediately get confused. Like how much can I steer here?
interesting.
Because like
I'm
I
s-
often when I was training the map, like about halfway through the turn, I would think, oh god, I'm oversteering it. I'm gonna hit the inside, and then I would like lighten up. But I also was losing ice treads, so that would mean I was especially widening out. So I would be like way too wide.
Yeah, I think it would have been the full steer turn would have also been improved if you didn't have to like sometimes be unable to clear your icy tires as soon as you want because you're just sliding or to get around this point.
Yeah.
There is a bit of gear balling here. Where
Yeah, but I think it's okay because of the reactor.
like you can enter the grass and like if you're entering it right as you're gearing up, you're a little screwed. So I guess I would have made this just like another triangle like here. Just in case that happens. Just to make it a bit less of a snowball for the gear. This reactor turn we already talked about. End drift, we mentioned at the beginning, but it is really interesting how much you can risk it because you can just full steer and hug the inside here, and then that also determines your line for the drift, and then you're also like wanting to hit this apex. It's honestly pretty cool. This this wall is invisible, by the way. I don't like that. I think it should be less invisible.
The problem is how do you even fix that? Like
You just color it white.
Yeah.
pole?
Literally just color it white or add a flag.
Oh, that's true actually. Yeah, you could.
Because
just
like
color
you're
it
here,
underground.
like you need to be looking at this exact point right there. But like you can easily hit it if you're just like trying to look at the finish and aim for the finish, and then you're just like crashing into the side here. At least that was my problem. I think this is just like a tiny issue, but it would also be easily fixed with a flag or a color change. But yeah, great track, honestly. Let's move on to the next one. To a less great track, Kether by Vake. And this map is a map. I'll just play the replay here. Allegedly, according to something I heard on Rob's stream, It's actually an old map, so I don't know. Regardless of however it reflects the mapper,
I mean,
I don't
ski.
think it's
This
good.
is old waypoint signs, so this is definitely old.
All right, well, I guess we can give Vake himself a pass here, but the map is dog shit.
The map was
Whoa!
bad. The map
Yeah.
was so bad.
Wait, so how is this the most recent PATC or what?
This is
We're
North
playing
America.
it this weekend.
NAC, okay.
So the start is fine. Here we come to the first issue. I don't know how you didn't notice this, but it's faster to like bounce into the sausage block and like break and get a nice turn here, because then you're getting like a better entry rather than if you were to go smoothly, then you're getting a worse angle on the entry. And this is like really annoying to try to do consistent, especially when you have to go through this chicane afterwards, which I would also like to point out that it is hard to see this edge here because it's all just like a bunch of dark blocks. So this would have honestly been slightly improved if these roads were a different color so that you could see like the extra line on the edge here. And if this, well, it would be honestly fine if this wasn't just garbage. Then I wouldn't care about like the random tiny visibility problem. Then this, you don't like this turn, CD.
Probably Lynn.
CD, would you like to explain why you don't like this drift?
Why do I not like this kind of a drift combination?
Yes.
I just generally don't like drifts where to carry the most speed, you have to go to two apexes that are on opposite sides of the car at the same time.
Yeah.
When both apexes are blind to you when you start the drift.
So you mean like this kind of thing, like where the exit,
Yes.
the exit is at the same, is like really close to the apex itself?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
I guess it does make
especially
it harder.
when
I don't know if I would consider that like a huge problem. Like, it does make
I
this
mean,
turn a
one
lot harder,
problem though is that you have a long period of time where you're just like before this turn,
Also
you're kind
just,
of
like,
setting
straight.
up with a ton of different angles for
Right.
it, which I guess
Yeah.
is partially good, but like I think the fact that it's still sort of blind coming into it is annoying.
Like, yeah, these
I
I
turns don't
personally
even
don't see
flow.
it as a major issue, but it definitely could be better.
Hello.
Neil, we are recording a review for the NA Cup maps. Would you like to chime in?
Yeah, this map sucks ass.
Now, here in this dirt, you can gear up here. Like, as you enter here, like, if you're fast, you can just gear up and then you get a slowdown, and that's horrible calculation. Also, you can clip on this ramp somewhat easily. Also, I feel like this drift is just, like, always inconsistent, the angle you have, just, like, coming from the dirt. I don't know if it's because,
See,
like, the
I-
dirt
Mike is
slowed down a
dying.
lot.
I just like release all the time throughout this drift
Yes.
just to make sure I have as much exit speed as possible.
Yeah, it's super weird drift.
It's
I
like
like this, actually.
it's an early 2011 like prof.
We're going all the way back
2011?
to 2011.
2011 prof speed tech where like there was always a drift where it's just like release a ton so you have a ton of
CD,
exit speed out
you're
of it.
saying 2011.
2021.
I was like, damn. You remember
man.
mapping styles for 2011? That's
I was
crazy.
gonna say, Prof didn't mech in 2011. You were busy,
I'd
like,
already
getting scared of
quit by
Bessie maps in 2011.
because of fucking bus.
Yeah, I don't personally like this entire drift area. It's just also because when you come off the dirt, it feels so bad.
Yes. Like, never start drifts immediately after dirt, because if you brake as soon as you leave the dirt,
Vague,
there's actually a dirt tire effect that will make you have a slowdown if you don't delay your drift slightly. So this should have
Vague-
definitely been grass.
Vake was with League One Tech for a period of time.
Like mapper or player?
He has, like, made good maps. Like, I don't know. This is just like a weird, random bad map that he made. Like,
Yeah,
Vake
he was
is not a
XM.
bad mapper. He's not a bad player.
Yeah.
He's very good at driving.
Yeah.
Now, I like this jump into the dirt thing. I think that's a pretty cool transition. I like this dirt section, actually.
I don't.
The exit
I
is kind of
don't.
weird because you can crash into the checkpoint, but aside from that, like, Ignoring the blocks that come after, I like the dirt, but yeah, the blocks that come
It's-
after are a bit weird.
It's weird that like gearing up, which you can do, is actually like slower, I think, based on what I've
What do you mean gearing up? Like keeping the
First,
gear?
keeping the upper gear, yeah.
The nose slide is tricky because you lose grip on the nose slide no matter what.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
the
so you
top
have
of
to-
the dirt.
I like the no side though,
And-
honestly.
And it's the perfect time where you have zero vision on the outside edge and you can lose grip and just hit the outside wall.
The optimal play here is lose the gear, snap into a nose slide,
Yes.
halfway up, snap out of the nose slide,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then cut in so you don't hit the checkpoint. It's so weird.
If it wasn't
It's
for the
kinda-
cut in so you don't hit the checkpoint part, I'd say this is great.
Yeah.
But then let's going into the next part. This grass part is
Gear.
super weird.
Gear.
Gear.
Gear on the
Yeah.
entry, you have to like wait to gear up like as you're entering the grass. Then you need to somehow get like the perfect full steer in order to get like this apex is super weird as well. It's really strange.
My previous world record, I literally just clip over it and it gives me a better angle around the next apex.
I think the weird thing is too is like I always found myself releasing because like you have to wait for the gear, and then because you waited for the gear, you have to release slightly so you don't slide way the fuck out.
And
Yeah.
then you've lost 0.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I guess this is what we were talking about when we mentioned on the mind map that we're gonna get to a less good grass turn. This is a grass turn where you're only steering in one direction and the apex is just jank. Like if the apex wasn't jank, this would be incredibly free. So I don't know. What do we think of this?
Bad. I did
Bad,
not like this drift.
bad, 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 bad.
I don't
It's
like that
literally
you can
like
crash
the
here.
first drift. It's like the first drift where you have to do like weird airtime going into it that determines a lot about how the drift turns out.
Yeah.
You
The
make a long
exit-
drift, and so the entrance is always going to be wide, but then you block the wide entrance. You're going to crash into the wall.
Yep.
So you have to have a tight entrance and do 7 drifts to make the turn.
Yep. Like this is the
And
this
Dude, the fucking clip on the exit of this drift too. I lost to tubes
Oh,
because
yeah.
I got that clip.
I also
I got that
this.
clip twice.
It's so
that
easy to
match.
hit it too because your entry
When I was
line
in
is always
finals
different.
mode.
So
There-
like
I would have beat you in that match, Ski.
I mean I could have beat you if I had never hit it as well. So
I know, that's what I'm saying.
like this just decided the match, I
That's
guess.
too much like I don't know. I mean, I think the problem with these clips is it's like when you're driving, you can't see clearly where it's gonna end because it just slowly tapers down into the road. So it's like you could fix it by just putting a flag on these clips if you know that the driving line is to go really close to it.
Yeah. And just like keep in mind, if you're building a drift, often the fastest way, not always, but often, is to enter as wide as possible. And if you have something like this, you cannot tell how wide you're going to go. So then when you're trying to just guess how far you can go, you sometimes just like hit the edge here and you're kind of scammed. And yeah, it also just like forces you to a line that's so far inside it's awkward. This should have just been a platform block, and then this would have been less bad. Also, the drift should have been entirely different. The entire map should have been entirely different, but that's besides the point. This part.
Yeah, this part was problematic initially
Yes.
because of the fact that you could just clip. I don't know what they changed though.
They
Did
raised
just
it up
raised
1
it?
meter in free
They
mode.
raised, yeah.
Oh, I
They
see.
raised the ground, so now when you land onto the dirt, you have less grip, and you can't even calculate it now. I hated that.
Yeah,
I
honestly,
enjoyed the map, the first version.
both versions are garbage.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
yeah.
the first
I
one
preferred
was just like
having a-
inconsistent clips here, which is just bad mapping. If you're building a map for rounds, and you have these like weird clips where you have to risk clipping, even if it's not in rounds, just like, don't do that, please. And now it's like really bumpy to try to enter the edge turn as well, so... Honestly,
Without
the
the
edge turn was
forced
bad even
entry.
before. Just like,
Well, in my opinion, entering the edge turn was more consistent after the change because I didn't have to worry about getting a clip.
that's also true. The
Like, technically, it was like, if I didn't get a clip, it was easier to enter the edge before. But, like, without the clip, it made it. I could just enter it however I wanted to.
if you are building an edge turn, you need to watch out for these turns where you enter it very straight. Because when you're entering very fast and straight, it becomes extremely difficult to do the edge turn because you often have too much speed going into it. Now this. This is the worst part of the map, if you ask me.
Game 2 bug.
I guess there's a camera 2 bug here. I didn't know I'm playing a camera 1, but
I think it's just a regrip. Like after you finish the outside dirt, you can't speed slide it. But if you like are no sliding it, kind of, you get too much grip, and you're probably gonna hit the inside.
you can easily
Just
hit the
setting up for
inside
the
of this
next turn
triangle.
yeah.
Yeah, and this jump up is just so terrible because you're gonna like fly some amount up
Yes.
if you're going as fast as
Not
possible.
smooth at all.
Or you'll just clip and hit the right if you try to get it super smooth.
Right.
So of course you're just gonna go for the jump. And then
And-
the turn after it is also terrible because it's dependent completely on how far you jumped.
My old record here, I lost literally 0.3 in this one jump. I was 0.2 out of Neo, and then I just enter this jump, 0.3 back.
Get
That's pretty
fucked,
bad.
idiot.
And to be clear, the real issue with this jump is just that the angle isn't right. If you were coming from
Yeah.
this direction, this would be fine. But because it's off-road and because you're entering from this kind of angle, you need to like do a bunch of fucky garbage in order to keep grip and avoid clipping on the inside here.
It would probably just work better if you got rid of the checkpoint. There just shouldn't
Yes.
be a checkpoint there.
Yes. Although,
Make it a
it would
line.
probably still be shit, but whatever. This grass turn is like fine. You can bounce on the entry because the transition is bad, but the grass turn is just whatever. End is fine.
End's kind of boring though. There's
This is
just nothing
fine. This
going
is
on.
stupid. This whole thing is just stupid.
However, it is the finish that I've failed the most because of trying to go too far to the right and like
That's
hit the
funny.
corner of the finish. I overjump sometimes and
I don't
hit
mind
the-
that the end just doesn't have much going on. I think it's fine. I'm definitely a supporter of just like basic jump finishes,
I am a supporter of this type of scenery for competitions though.
especially the
Just
end scenery looks
because
nice. Honestly, I
it
keep
looks
saying
like
honestly
my
too much
shitty
in this
scenery.
video.
So,
I don't
I'd
see
be-
random blocks on the route this.
True.
Yeah, true.
No, I'm too lazy to do that. Now it's just build the towers and then you're done. I mean, you can tell he was in a rush too if you look at the safe fin. Like, look at that. There's just a random cave there and then a floating finish block. So
Yeah.
he might have done this as an actual mapping challenge to be done in like an hour or something.
Here you go. I'm just gonna pull up the meme here. Average and exotica scenery be like.
Oh yeah. Go through the Desco
Yeah,
thread.
click on Deska's thing.
Fake. The scenery isn't placed on the route. Trust me, it is. It was. This is on the route. After that intermission, we go to seashells. This is the Lin map.
Oh, this was
Hey.
a.
This was a map. How did I already lose
map.
world record? I had world record here an hour ago.
It's because no one wanted to hunt
Oh,
this.
see,
map very
I
much.
think I didn't play much, but I think this was my favorite map.
I
Really?
hard disagree.
I think I just playing. I mean, I don't know.
What
There
do you
was some
think?
issues with the map, but
What did you like about it specifically?
are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just liked all the series of turns. They kind of fit me nicely. That's what I'm saying. Like personal opinion. Like this outside turn was nice. This introduction of Gear 2 was pretty cool.
I think it is interesting. Breaks up the flow for sure.
I think it was
And you had to push yourself on this grass whole road transition. This was a little sketchy, but it was really nice set you up for this one, which was kind of cool. It was skillful. Right.
Yeah.
Setting
was.
yourself up to get everything. You had to get everything right to make the outside dirt, which was already hard, and then you had to do the outside dirt on top of that perfectly well. So I think there was like a series of nice turns that
I
you
didn't
were
like that
forced
exit.
to-
I didn't like that.
The exit was sketchy. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
could've
you
been
just
better.
saw me catch up so much time there for no reason at all.
yeah. So I don't like the map. Nyx, I don't think you like
I
the map.
place it in anywhere between third and fourth best map.
Okay, sure. So
But
I didn't like the visibility in the Gear 2 part. That's what I didn't like
let's just
about
go
it.
through the chronological
Okay.
review again here. Starts nice. Surprisingly, this wasn't clippy.
Yeah, never clipped.
This is good. This grass part is fine.
Hold on, hold on. I want to talk about the grass part
Sure.
because I don't like how it feels like the map should start after the transition onto the black road, but the map really feels like it starts like at the first drift. I feel like none of this ever determined anyone's like placement this first 20 seconds or whatever.
I guess you only lose like
Eh,
0.1 here, even if you do it
And I
bad.
also don't like how the entrance into the grass is just keep going wider and wider because it's just faster.
Yeah, you have to
just
like
take-
time your full steer into the grass. Like the entry to this grass is more important than the grass itself. And I don't think this is inherently a problem, but I guess we're gonna go into this later. Where like there's basically two parts in this map that matter. This tech turn is fine. This part is fine. This gear here is interesting, but it's not bad.
it's not hard.
Yeah, you can
It's
do
not
it.
easy.
I don't like this turn. I think this turn is a good idea that is poorly made. So, what's going on here is it's very easy to get a fucked up gear here. It's very, very chaotic. The exact angle you exit here completely determines how much speed you have and how far inside or outside you're going. You also need to like touch this thing on the entry, which I mean on its own is like whatever, but combined with how this is working is like
Do you have to touch
really
it?
it's faster to touch it, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Which it just like messes up your line slightly, and when the exact angle you enter the road matters so much, that's just a little annoying. It'd be nicer if like it just let me go as wide as I feel like, and then I could like try to set it up. And it's extremely blind. You have no idea what's happening. Literally, the best judgment you have on like how you're going to do this turn is how rotated your car is relative to the platform, because you want to get almost perpendicular to the platform as you enter it.
Yeah, that's kind of true. It is blind, and also it's like you have to keep the gear, so you have to
Yes,
stay
gear is
opened up
extreme.
enough.
And it's then if you're like a little too wide, it's like even hard to like release and save it. I don't know. This part is very, very, very decisive compared to a lot of the rest of the map, and it's also I don't think that good. Like I am a Gear 2 enjoyer, but I don't think this is a good Gear 2.
I think if it wasn't like a spiral all the way to the left, it would be fine.
True, like if you just went to the right here with another full steer, that might be better.
Yeah.
Like move the right steering to over here. That
I
make
think
it less decisive.
The issue is that it depends on what gear you get, whether you're going to have a good section or not. But
Yes.
getting gear 3, there's so many different ways that it becomes really risky, and all of them are really blind.
Yeah, and also I would like to note this turn has no apex. There's just no apex here. It's just trying to keep speed, which is often a little bit suspicious on road slides. On
It's
drifts.
just annoying because that's what makes it feel so blind. It's because it's just like, I'm in the general area of where I should be, but
You can't
maybe
see
I'll
the
keep
exit,
maybe
and you
I
can't
won't.
see an apex because there is no apex. There's just nothing. This entry is like a little weird, but whatever. You're like often going over the grass here. Like the natural line is to drive across here, but it's filled
And
with
then-
grass.
I also found the transition from the sausage to the grass to always be bumpy.
Yeah, it's never smooth.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't have enough speed for it most of the time.
Even when you have the speed,
Like
it's
for
a
it to
little
be
awkward.
smooth.
Like
It should be like a half a block closer, or just use a different block.
it should be a half block closer or moving this. I mean, this is more of a mapping issue than a driving issue, to be fair.
Yeah.
Aggro, you're next.
Here's the thing: is if it was a half a block closer, then you would transition onto it for closer. You'd have more
Yes.
speed, and the turn on the grass would probably feel normal.
Yep. Now, I think this is shit.
It is
I
pretty
think-
annoying.
I like how there's two different routes you could take through it. Like there's two different. You can enter exit the grass either low or high, and both of the lines work okay.
High is much better in my experience.
High is much more consistent, but low, if you keep the speed, it's actually faster.
Interesting.
But
is
even on the
interesting.
high one, don't you get like a rebound sometimes?
So
No, if you do it well onto the platform, you get like a
Like
little bit of a bounce.
Yeah, when you land on the platform, yeah.
And sometimes, depending on how soon you like get grip and straighten out, you might not be able to make it to the dirt. You just fly off the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's going on here is you need to go inside here, time your left steer in order to get grip here, and then because this is bumpy here, you need to like plan for the bump in order to smooth steer over it to not slide too much, not hit the outside, and if you lose any amount of speed, this jump is completely fucked. And you're bouncing around and you're basically just dead. There's no way you're getting a decent edge line. So this is just like all one combination of jank, jump, jank, slide off of here, where if you don't do it perfectly, the next part is completely screwed over.
Yeah, I think it would be better if it was like the grass transitions into this block and it's like a full drift 180 and then it turns into like a normal transition into dirt rather than a jump into it.
Yeah, like if you had an extremity thing here, that could work.
Like jumping into dirt would be fine if it wasn't like immediately turning to the left, and if you, it's just there's too many factors in how you're gonna land it.
Speaking
So-
of, this is the second part of the map that matters. This matters,
Yes.
and this matters. And everything else matters a whole lot less.
Yeah.
And like, this is honestly kind of acceptable in time attack because you can just like grind it until you get the perfect line. But for rounds, it's really, yeah.
Oh, so many
Wait.
people kept messing it up.
Ski,
if
who,
you're- if
who
you're
made
just-
this map?
Lynn.
I tested this a long time ago.
Visky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the map. It's fun.
I like the
The
map,
map?
too.
I like it in time attack. I do not like it in rounds.
I think it's still okay in rounds. I think
I think it's cool.
I think that there's still just enough, like this drift. I mean, the drift here adds a little bit extra. The snap
it's all
into the
fine.
nose slide and keeping the gear in the dirt in the beginning adds a little extra.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
there are a couple spots where you can get speed back, but I agree that it is still too much, too highly.
It's
dependent
mostly
on
just like
speed.
these two sections that kind of ruin the map for me.
I quickly want to wash my hands in innocence and say that from what it looks like, the suggested changes were not implemented. Okay, so hey.
Really, man.
Wow, putting all the blame on the map, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think the drift is nice. This turn is nice as well. I like the ending actually. Like I don't know if like it's faster to like keep grip here. If it is, that's kind of annoying. But I like the finish.
I want to say too, one thing we didn't discuss for the other maps, but I would say this map has the best scenery out of all of them.
That's true.
But it's
Yes.
also Lynn.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I just like these huge, like, structure areas.
These things.
Like, I really like or even the huge one that's near the dirt, the beginning of the jump to the dirt section.
I think this is a good use of the spectator stance as well.
Yeah, it actually ends up looking
Where's
pretty
the
good.
huge one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here. Having these things like above the route is also often pretty cool. I've noticed that being used more often. Because it's like a thinner version of like the overhead roads. That's pretty cool. So like if you have it close to the track, it's nice. Whereas the roads work better when they're higher above you, like this.
Yeah, I think it's also useful that we have a lot of stuff in the game now that makes it feel like there's spectators again. Like the spectator booth sort of feel that these small circular roads give, and then
Oh, yeah.
actually having the spectator stands.
Interesting.
I think it fits into the stadium theme a lot better. And especially for a competition, it's like it gives it more life to how the map feels. Having like a lot of these small things too, like the balls on a stick. And these
Where? Oh yeah, these. I've noticed this
Wait,
smacker block being
Neil-
used by a lot of people.
Neil,
now.
you missed some classic Nixotica lines during the tournament today.
Yeah, he said.
Well, did
What
you
did he
say-
say? Where is this
Suck my
quote?
lip
Asia's not a
fins.
country.
No. The I don't like how
My
the skin
skin-
feels on my body. Just in the middle of a match.
Dude,
Just randomly says that.
I don't like how my skin feels on my body.
you know that whole drunk Nixotica on my stream like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twitch paid me $88 today.
Nice.
Because he drunk gifted like 1 million subs.
Wait, you
Nice.
got like a huge cut for that. That's actually.
I think it
really
was some
good.
other subs too, but I think you're
Oh, okay.
responsible for like more than
Yeah,
half.
probably
Of that.
$50 of that.
Yeah.
If they do 50-50 split.
Now we go on to Cinderella. Now I know for the fact that this is an old map that Agra does not agree with anymore. So, no hate to Agra, but we gotta talk about
We
this
don't
map.
hear half of what you're saying, by the way. Your mic just cuts out randomly.
What? It's doing this again? Is OBS doing
Yeah.
it?
Starting to again.
I don't
It
think
did
OBS
just,
is
like,
doing it,
for
so
a
I think I'm
second.
good.
Are we what's it called? Roasting aggro now?
Yeah.
I
I
think
think it was a Discord thing.
I
It was a
think
Discord thing.
what's interesting about this map to talk about is that these errors are very common errors that like intermediate competition mappers will run into. So even though this isn't going to be like helping Agra, it's going to help other people because Agra already moved past it.
Be fair. Also, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
To be fair, there might be parts of this map that I still like that are problems that I didn't know, but I know some of the main problems here.
All right. I think I'm more opinionated on this map than some of you, but I'll just like go through and stop me if you have something to say.
Yeah, the plastic thing. You hate the plastic thing.
So the start. The start is like it's only time attack consistent. It's not rounds consistent. You can get it like half the time, but it's really a risking simulator because you need to get the perfect full steer here, perfect full steer change here. If you full steer like smooth steer a little bit here, then you're losing time not going to this apex because this apex comes immediately after the road, so there's no time to adjust. Then you need to time the full steer going around this checkpoint. Then if you're too fast, you need to release, and you need to be looking for, let me see if I can find it. I have a visual cue here. This point right here. This like, you're not even going to see it on the bitrate, but there's like a line here that like intersects with the edge, and I want to
Wait,
jump
that?
exactly to the right of this.
I thought you were pointing at the TM logo on the dirt uphill.
Bro, what the fuck?
No, I'm
No,
looking at this fucking
this
line
is
right
schizo.
here. That's how I'm doing this jump. That's the only way I can do it
Excellent
consistent.
schizo.
Wild.
You don't decide to like look at
Sorry.
the third
So-
arrow
Sorry,
or
wait.
something.
Ski, how are you doing it? What are you looking at?
This like faint line here that goes to the edge. One of these
There's
lines.
no line.
I don't know
There's
which one it
line.
is.
no
This is
line.
why-
But I'll know if I can see it while I'm driving.
Why?
It's your aiming thing?
I'm putting you back in
What?
HCFG. This is enough.
Put him back in the asylum, dude. What?
Yeah, look right here. See, I jumped exactly to the right of the line, and look how
I
good
do
I get
not
it.
see a fucking
We don't see.
line.
We literally
We
don't see.
don't see the line.
I'm blaming the stream bitrate.
I'm
I forgot
glad
to
that
show
you're
the driving on this
so
map,
prodigious that
actually.
you can just see the bits in this game and in its engine, but
This landing is stupid.
there's
Oh,
straight
it-
up.
No, 100%.
All of this
Don't know what I was thinking.
is. I'll get
How
to
did you
it. I guess.
survive that?
I don't know.
Okay, I kind of see the lines, but how the hell are you supposed to see them in mid-round?
Okay, those
I can
lines
see
were
the
all
lines.
extremely different. That was really interesting.
I mean,
CD, the
I know which
C-tier
lines
player
are
wouldn't know.
fastest. Like, it's not a mystery which
So,
lines are
hey,
fastest to me.
Ski, so then why don't you have world record?
Because I'm not grinding this map.
Maybe
Also
random just
random-
knows.
Seems like you could know a little bit better.
Alright, dude. So yeah, the start would be fine in time attack, but because you have to play it in rounds and you can only like get this stuff consistent like half the time, it wouldn't be a start simulator for time attack, but it's annoying in rounds. This jump,
Agreed.
it's super annoying to try to get perfectly because minute differences in your speed drastically change the angle and location
actually,
you have to
can I-
jump from.
Actually, Ski, can I add on to the complaint here with the grass part of why I actually dislike it now?
What is it?
So I'm pretty much this killed any interest that I have in doing like true chicanes on the flat stadium grass, because when you flip from the right steering to the left steering, there's a part of it where you're hitting the kind of optimal SD angle in the middle, and so you get a kind of random acceleration boost when you do that. And so it doesn't feel like that might cause some of the extra consistencies heading into the jump, which is like too tight timing. Does that make sense?
I think
Yes.
that's only a problem specifically on this map. We were talking about it earlier, but we really like
Yeah.
the
No, I
direction
mean, I
change
agree.
on the mine map. Like, direction changes on grass are cool. It's just that specifically because of this, like, almost speed check-esque transition here.
Yeah.
And, like, if you're too fast, you just have to release. That's basically it.
Mhm.
This
Too
dirt
fast
turn,
or too wide.
if you are building a competition map, please don't make your dirt turns all like these basic 90-degree dirt turns. Do something more interesting. Play some build maps. See what you like. Do
I
some
think-
cool combinations.
I think the problem here is just that one dirt turn is fine as long as it's not this jump into it, because
Right.
all this tests is the jump into it
Yeah,
at this
the
point.
jump is like most of this turn.
Yeah. If this turn was like without the jump, it might be okay.
It would
'Cause
be
would just
okay,
be
but it
filler
also wouldn't really
section.
add a dirt section to the map.
Yeah, it
think-
would just be filler.
I think my mindset at the time, because like you're right, Ski, all of this is good for like time attack, is I think I was in that mindset at the time, was just like, does it look good when it's driven best and not 4 rounds? 'Cause I wasn't thinking that.
like in time attack either. Like
Okay.
this thing.
The plastic thing.
This plastic is horrible. There's no apex. There's nothing. It's just trying to get the correct angle here to not lose grip and avoid clipping the platform here. Never build anything like this. Anyone ever again, please.
There's also clipping the platform at the start.
Let's start.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh,
not at the
yeah.
start of the
You can like
plastic.
crash on the outside here, but that's This tech turn is uncalculated because if you drive it really well or you go too far inside,
Why?
then you are going to just fly out at the top and slide and lose time.
I agree.
So you have to like
Tech players agree.
drive wider, apex like at the top here so that you're going in this direction when you're coming over the top end so that you don't lose grip.
You're no longer going back in the asylum. I see the line that you're talking about.
Yeah.
You found the line when you played it in game, nice.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Look, I'm telling you, just trust me, it's barely visible enough in rounds if you're just like actually playing the game. It's probably horrible on the bitrate though. So,
Back in a minute.
this transition, it's honestly not that bad for specifically driving in rounds, right? Because you can like, you take it bouncy, but like whatever. As a mapping thing, this is a lesson in if your transition is smooth, but not if you drive it the fastest way, then it's not a smooth transition because people are just going to drive it bumpy.
Because
This is-
right-hand side, it's smooth.
If you jump over here, it's
But
smooth, but
yeah.
it's faster to go like. Honestly, it
First.
could be because of the tech turn as well, because you can't like exit super wide here. That might be partially
I
it.
appreciate though.
Yeah.
Kudos for blocking the outside turn for the dirt.
Yeah, the outside turn would have been shit here. It's much better to have the outside right here.
Yeah, I'm okay with like snapping into something for just a little bit of extra exit speed, but
Yeah.
like carrying a long no slide turn is just so annoying.
Well, it wouldn't be a no slide, but it would be a high speed edge turn, which is usually pretty sus. Now,
Yeah. Would it not be a no slide?
I don't think it would be. I
No,
think you're too
I
fast to
think
no
you're
slide
going
here.
too fast. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, these pulls, you just have to be careful when you're placing them, because depending on your map, these can just like fuck up your map. Here, it's fine, but just be careful.
Yeah,
This is fine.
sometimes maps will place them to where it has like your back wheels can hit it if it's on the driving line, but luckily it's nowhere not too close to the driving line here.
This section, Neil, I think you had something to say about this. Is Neil here?
Did I? I
You didn't like this transition out of this dirt or something?
didn't. It's so uncalculated. Like it's not. Doesn't feel smooth. Like sure it works, but it doesn't feel smooth at all. I don't know what's happening sometimes. Like when I'm doing a turn in a round, me as a player, I like to know what I'm doing. Like the inputs that I'm doing I should be able to see them on the car when it happens. When I get out the dirt section here, I don't know what's happening. I just bounce around.
Yeah, it's not smooth, and you want to go as inside as you can in order to set up for the grass. But also, if you go too far inside, your slide gets extended by this block.
And then you hit the wall.
And then this is clippy. This is clippy. Never do this. Nobody ever do this, okay? Don't do this.
Oh yeah.
Just add some slow grass or something on the sides so you're not like clipping the sides and getting slowdowns.
Actually, you could just. This is all the same height. You could have put the black road borders on both sides.
Did anybody ever clip that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. 100%.
It also
Like,
like depends
by
on your
doing the normal
dirt
line?
exit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just depending on your dirt
okay,
exit,
okay.
like how you're going. You can easily like go too wide here.
Yeah, if you come at it too straight, it's pretty easy.
Okay. I never experienced it.
Yeah, because it's
You just, like, run fast
suboptimal to take like too harsh of a turn into the grass
Right.
section because the bank gives you so much time to turn back to the left that usually you're actually like undershooting it rather than overshooting it.
Yeah. And also like a grass turn like this just doesn't add a ton to the map. Similarly to how the first dirt turn is just a 90-degree turn without much going on. This is much more about your entry angle and your exit than anything else. So like it's fine, but again, if you're going to be building grass in your map, make sure to not build all your turns like this. Which, to be fair, this map doesn't. So it would be fine if it wasn't for the clipping.
Yeah, so I'll also say at some point that actually the second half of this map was rebuilt also a while ago, but later.
Yeah, for XP.
The second half of the map is better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, that's what I was going to say. The second half of the map is definitely better. It flips after the entry to the dirt after this tech turn.
So I would like to say one thing about this grass exit. The nature of this turn is that unless you get the like pixel perfect right here, it doesn't flow into the tech turn. Like you have to PF a bit on this road, which is just like not the best for flow for mapping wise. And it also means that you have to like risk. This is also pretty blind. Like when you're driving here, kind of like going through the checkpoint. Like as you're driving through the checkpoint, you can't see like the point on the road where you're going to crash. So you can't like release at the last minute to adjust. But that's like a really minor point. And also it wouldn't be an issue if it was just faster to go a bit more inside here. I think this is a good use of these items. It's gonna be there's gonna be a worse use later. It does make it kind of blind, but I don't think that matters too much.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you just had the first one, it'd be better. I don't know. There's gonna be a really
Probably.
sus use of this. This tech turn is fine. This dirt turn is weird. Like it's kind of a weird edge turn. It's just like driving the edge a long time and then
Was this outside dirt quicker?
Yeah.
So full
You're
outside
like
was
the only
quicker, right?
person who did it, I feel like, Ski.
you go out here. You can do it a lot
I
better
think
than
my
World as
record
well.
does outside dirt fully.
I
I thought it
think-
was quicker.
World record and me both do the outside turn.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the outside's faster.
Yeah, so you just like go on the
No, I think
outside,
it's really well made.
stop
I-
steering, and then steer again. What'd you say, Neil?
I don't know if Agra meant to do full inside there or full outside. I don't know what he
Both
meant.
both lines work. And they're
Both lines worked. I knew the outside
lines worked.
existed and was probably faster.
Okay, cool. Because the outside
Yeah.
still like, even if you didn't mean it, it still like works really
Yeah,
good.
it's
like
fine.
it feels
I-
great.
What I felt like when I was building it was I was like, oh cool, I made one of those turns that has two different actual lines. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're technically correct then, because there were like 3 of the records driving on the inside.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It doesn't
That was
lose enough
discussed.
time for it to be an issue to drive those two different strategies. So
yeah.
Again,
It's-
this was like rebuilt for XP Evo.
It's an okay dirt part. It's not bad. I don't love it though, because I just like a different kind of dirt.
Yeah, I liked. I wouldn't map it like this now either.
The kind of dirt that
I
I
think-
like
I
is like
think
the second dirt turn on the Germain that I built.
Ski, what I would say about this turn is the dirt turn is that it is perfectly fine. Okay,
Yes.
it works.
Yes.
Like it strings along the map, but it isn't really terribly exciting or interesting.
Yeah. Now, here we're going into another lesson in tech mapping. I noticed these are slightly off center.
Pole.
These are slightly off center, so I know you must have thought of this a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't do it enough.
You didn't do it enough. When you have a tech turn, and I think I mentioned this earlier in the video, but if you have a tech turn and you have to risk touching on the outside, it's a little spinning. Especially here, where it's just like this point that's like far away from the apex. So, especially in rounds, you can easily touch on the outside here.
So the first thing I want to mention too is slightly before that, the entrance into the turn is like quite. You can get a no slide here. I had it a couple times.
Interesting. I never got a no slide here.
No, I got a no slide because it was just like you are doing a slight elevation change. And
That's because you can't do tech.
Yeah, I don't know.
no, but I would just do a neo.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you're just neoing everywhere, Nick.
What do you mean neo? You do a neo everywhere, Nix. You can't just say I would just do a neo here.
Look,
That doesn't mean
Nix,
anything.
Nix is the guy who's like,
no. But I'm saying like I felt like I had to do it here, right? So it's like that's
Nobody
usually
else had
people
to.
are very against it.
No,
But-
I agree, because like it's like a quick right to left as well. So like you know how most tech turns you have to hold the turn for a little bit for a little bit before you start braking, and this one you barely had enough time, so you could no slide.
I think you would have more time because like the faster way to do this turn is to go on more of an angle like this, right? Because then you're pushing more outside and then you're keeping more speed. Which is maybe why Nix was having a problem. But
I guess it also depends on the dirt exit,
yeah,
because
maybe it's because I have more speed as well. Because I'm driving the
Yeah.
edge. Don't know. But yeah, like this turn just would have been better if it wasn't for these blocks. And then this is like, you can get a no slide here, but it's whatever. Just delay your drift, it's fine. I never really had an issue with it. The exit is a little strange. Like, I'm not personally a huge fan of these drift, exit inside, and continue steering on off-road.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
especially here, there's only one exit
It's a
line
little-
that actually flows.
it's a
Because
little
otherwise you're too far
unflowy.
outside, or you're too far
Yeah.
inside and touching this. This plastic is fine. This grass is kind of fine if you
10 out of
steer
10.
left early enough, but you can easily clip here. So I would have just like put a flat to slope penalty block here, so that instead of getting a slowdown, you would just get some penalty, and then the optimal line would be like driving with 2 wheels here and 2 wheels here, rather than just like
Oh, no,
trying
man,
to
I
pray
like
you get
this
it
grass
correctly.
After I had that insane snipe in the last match.
What'd you say?
I did see that. I did see.
It is a cool, like you can risk this grass a lot at the end, but it's still a
Yeah, I like the grass overall. It's
Oh,
just like this one
skill
thing would have made it
turn.
better. It would have been a lot better.
gotcha.
And it would still be very risky, but it would be more risky in a consistent way. I think it's a
Mhm.
cool turn, though. Like, the way you come up on the outside of this flat to uphill,
Yeah, I really like that.
and then
part
into the
of it.
triangle, and then the direction
Uh,
change into the finish.
I think at some point I'd actually flipped the parts that were plastic and grass there, and they both worked way better than when it was the other way.
Interesting.
So it was grass first, plastic second. It was better
Yes.
than this way.
No. The current way was
Okay.
better.
Okay, that's
Because the plastic coming up to the triangle was like you could kind of turn way too much or way too little very easily because the plastic itself was like,
Yeah.
like it's very easy to fall off of the outside part of it, but the grass is, since you turn slower on it, you're kind of forced to stay in the same area that you should be. And then just to give even more, this track is a fucking Frankenstein's monster. The end I actually redid for this tournament, but not the whole end. The track was too long, and so I basically cut it off early and did the jump into the thing. So like the roadblock going down, basically the path to the safe finish was the path to the original finish, but on road.
okay.
And it was like fine, but not interesting and not really a time gain. So it was kind of pointless. And I like the current version of the end a lot better because it just ends instead of dragging out forever.
Yeah. Mapping version of waffling.
I kind of like the scenery in this map
it
as well.
Hey, nice. I found out that that you can when I was doing the XP Evo stuff that you can ghost block the bars into the 4x4 roads, the like total cross thing, and they kind of sit across it in an interesting way. Kind of mix
which
in
blocks?
with it.
Oh, these.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. Although it does flicker here. So you got ghost mode on the ground. So yeah,
But that, yeah, the ground stuff is a big oops.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't notice him driving. Let's go to
the other thing. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
actually going to say the part where there's the 2 tech drifts in a row.
Yeah.
It's just another scenery thing. Just Camp 7. The circle that's sitting like nestled in here. So you can also put these blocks like in. Like these are
minus,
combined.
minus.
Why is it flicker when you're that close and not from like? Okay, but it
I
doesn't trigger
didn't
from
expect that to happen.
driving distance.
I had no.
No. I mean, that is stupid. I'm saying what the fuck right now. But
Yeah,
I like that you can
don't think any of us expected that.
I kind of like that you can inlay the like image into the road.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. I don't think it happens when you're driving. You need to get like the camera really close to the scene, but I'm not going to do it again because that was awful.
Anyways, that was all.
Now the final map is by Rob and me. Jermaine.
Yeah.
That was a really good map.
I might still watch, but I'm gonna head out for now. So I'll see y'all.
Bye.
Bye. So this was a mixed map by well, Rob made the first part.
Edge.
I didn't like this. Like that dirt jump into the dirt.
Yeah.
I didn't like the jump of the sausage.
I started building here.
This tech turn was I don't know.
It caused
Not a
issues.
fan. Yeah.
I have one specific problem with the tech turn.
The second tech turn, mostly fine with it. Just sometimes if you had a ton of exit speed, you couldn't actually make the turn to the left into the grass. Or you would run into the grass hole.
Yeah, the full steer timing there is kind of a thing.
Yeah. This map is sick, though.
And
I
by
think
the
this
way,
is the best mapped one by far.
interesting. I'd say this and like my map are kind of close. Although
My map is too.
my map has
dependent
the
on
ice turn, which I don't like.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it.
map
It's a
the
good
grass.
ice, but it's just dependent on the ice.
Yeah. So, Rob, I built from this tech turn to this uphill, and then Rob built from this to the end. So, and you did the scenery, right? Now, one of the things that we wanted to do with this map was to have longer sections on each surface. Because my current take on mixed mapping is that if you transition surfaces too often for like your entire track, you can do it for some parts of the track. But if you don't have any parts of the track where you have an actual section on a given surface, you're kind of just like testing players' skill on the surface transitions more so than the actual sections. Now, as an example, here's this grass part. You get like the full left steer here, and then the direction change that we mentioned before, and then into the triangle and around there. There's just a lot going on in this grass part where you can save time, like hitting these apexes, timing the full steer, getting this without having to like brake, because you can do a brake adjustment and like barely use anything. And there's like two different lines that work on the exit here, where you can go wider and then go in there, or you can go very tight and almost go over the penalty here, and then get into the sausage block, which I thought was interesting. And then if you similarly on tech, if you just have one tech turn, like coming off-road into the tech turn directly into off-road again or something like that, you're not really getting the full tech experience, where you have the way the full steer turns interact with the drifts. Now, that said, I think I have a couple problems with this map. Now, I know Rob doesn't like this, and I think Neil doesn't like it either, but the way this transition goes into the dirt, it might be a bit more of this, like, it's time attack consistent, but it's not rounds consistent, because you can't like plan your inputs in advance, because you're gonna have a slightly different line here, and then you're gonna need to adjust as you make your way to the edge turn. As I assume that's what your problem with it was, Rob. Or sorry, not Rob, Neil.
It's also really easy to just like, because of that adjustment, you're trying to like risk that inside of the dirt turn, and like you can get a bit of a bump from that. So you're always getting like slightly different entry into the dirt turn every time.
Maybe there's an argument to be made that this would have been better, and like maybe in general, like whenever you're doing this combination, to use the version of the block that doesn't like split off, but only goes like from here and then goes that way, just so you don't have this like kind of weird bounce here. It's like that. That's not really the best kind of bumpy dirt. I'm a bumpy dirt enjoyer, but I like the bumps that are on the inside more than like, oh, I went slightly different on the outside, now my line is fucked. But this is like, I don't think it's, I didn't bother me that much. It's like, whatever. It's kind of an issue though. Some people don't like that the full steer turn here. Also, I guess I should mention you can drop the gear here, and then, but you're actually not really that screwed over by it. You only lose like 0.1, because by dropping the gear, you get to take a more inside line here, and then no slide earlier, and then you do a no slide exit. So if you know that you drop the gear, then you can kind of adapt your line and go for the no slide, and then you only lose like 0.1 overall, or maybe even less if you do it well.
Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy because it puts like 3 different strategies in this that are, maybe even 4, that are dependent on like how well you take the turn. There's like the keep the gear, no slide, then there's keep the gear with a slide, then there's drop the gear but recover with a no slide, and then there's drop the gear and just don't do the no slide.
That would just be like being bad though.
That's just, yeah, but it's like 4 different skill levels essentially.
Yeah. I think the full steer entry into this is fine, specifically because you can safe it a lot by just like exiting more on the inside here, setting up wider here, and then full steering into it, because the full steer here to the left does impact your line into the drift, but I don't think that's bad. I think that's fine. The problem with this drift is that the outside border here is just too close to the line. Like if you're going really fast, you have to like risk and then like do some taps on the outside here in order to get around. So this would have been better if like this was a borderless road. I considered when mapping it to like grab some of these blocks, you know, because they're like 2 meters wider, they don't have the border, you know, and put those in here. But I decided against it because I figured that it was easy enough as it is, and it wasn't a big enough issue to like, or like a major problem to end up having to block mix that in here, because I think that's super ugly. In hindsight, that was a mistake. I should have just replaced the block, done the free mode block mix, whatever garbage, and been done with it. I would like to see at some point people making borderless road turns. Not just for stuff like this, but for cool transitions. Because I think that would be interesting. There would be, because there's a lot of transitions that you can do on these black blocks because they have no border. And then these are 2 meters higher. So then you would have new transitions and new entries to drifts and such. So that's a bit of a problem. I think the triangle itself is fine. I like the triangle. And then you have the rest of the tech part. You can get a no slide here, I heard. Like if you're really slow. I only got it once. But that is the thing. Like if you're slow and you drift too early. But it's not optimal to drift that early anyway, so I think it's fine. CD doesn't like that it's not faster to go all the way to the edge here. So you kind of want to like drift a little bit more and then full steer earlier and then get a more inside line here. So that's like kind of like the mime map where like the tech part is slightly uncalculated going into the grass. And I'm curious to hear Nix's opinion on this, because I feel like it's really, really hard to make a tech part going into an off-road part where everything flows and you don't have this problem where you have to like slightly adjust your tech line in order to have a good off-road line.
For me, I wouldn't just adjust the tech line. A lot of the time I was just releasing right before the grass entry.
Interesting.
Like I would just tap release.
I'd like
and
tap
I
release or
think
tap break
it's
if I
okay.
fucked it up.
I think it's okay because it's like you almost have to decide then if you're making a mixed style map that part of what you're testing is the skill from like how you handle transitioning from one style to another. Like it is sort of in its own different beast when it
Yeah.
comes to figuring out transitions. And it's not like an actual transition, like a jump into it. It is just you go from one style to another. So I think it is fine.
I would argue that it's fine here because it is fairly minor. So like if you're driving in
it's
rounds,
sort
your
of
goal is to full risk it anyway, and then just release if you mess it up.
it's
And
sort of like Mimes map with
yeah.
the tech into the grass.
However, the difference between Mine Map and Mimes Map is like fine too. Like these aren't like the kind of like sliding into off road that I really don't like. That would be just like so here you notice that coming from here, we have a direction change. So then we're going to no slide, and then we're going to the left, and then we're full steering into the grass. I think it's really, really bad, or much worse at least, if I were to put the grass here, and then continue full steering to the right from the drift into the grass. Just having this extra layer of abstraction between the drift and the grass, I think, helps a lot. Would you agree, Nix?
Yeah, I think having a little bit of extra time there is good.
And Mimes Map does the same thing. It's really like a one block distance, but if you remember, like he basically like drifted up around here to the left, and then it was a full steer from drifting left, and then full steering right on grass.
And like also, it's not like an immediate apex that you have to hit when you enter the grass. The grass gives you a ton of time to like do whatever sort of turn you want by it being like an open platform here. So, I mean, it's pretty common to have to release or tap brake on like grass or dirt anyway. So I think there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just kind of like something to be mindful of.
Yeah, one thing I will also note is that when you're having an entire text section where you have like more than one drift, I think stuff like this becomes a lot more defensible, because while you do have this kind of like mixed style transitioning between the surfaces as part of the skill in this drift exit, this one is fully tech. This is just like max the tech turn. So it's not like we only have this kind of like slide into off-road thing. So that's just like a bit of a mapper waffling on the nature of drifts and off-road turns being right next to each other, but that is what it is. Now, one thing that I would like to note here is I wish I hadn't put this hole here. I didn't notice it when I was mapping, because I guess I feel like almost I should have like practiced this map in rounds in order to notice this. Like that's the only way I would have figured it out. But depending on your exit here, you can get stuck on a line where I think it's like if you go inside here and then go straight, and then you're going really wide, and then you can like touch on the exit of the hole here. And I think that's kind of annoying. Like, yes, you have tons of time to make up for it, but for a regional level difficulty competition, I think this would have been better if it wasn't a problem. But I guess this would have been like another small thing that could have been made slightly more rounds friendly. Similarly, I think this is fine, but I actually never touched the outside of this triangle here. But I can see people like touching the triangle on the outside here, because you do have to like have a going in and around here. And just like this is another thing is when you restrict the outside of a turn, it becomes it's a lot different than restricting the inside of a turn. So like right here, I'm restricting the inside of the turn. I think this is fine. Like the fact that this beam is here is fine. It's the apex of the turn. If you crash over it, you're just like, you're trying to go further than the limit of the track. And similarly, if you crash on the inside here. However, when you have stuff on the outside, you end up punishing people who are already on bad lines, which can be a problem depending on the level of player. I don't think this was too bad, but it definitely was on like similar to hole, like kind of on the borderline of like, maybe it should have been a bit different. Maybe I should have like gone to the mesh editor and just removed this like triangle here, like arch, just like amputate the checkpoint, cut it off right here. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I do like the grass overall. Then we have this into the transition. Now, I don't know about you, Nick.
Have slightly too much speed going over that turn, I feel like.
Yeah, you do have to go like slightly wider. Like you have to follow this line in order to not get like an airtime. But I figured that was like a fine airtime reduction thing.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because it's not a too much speed thing. It's more of a gone too far inside thing. So I think that's a bit, I don't know. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Making my way downtown.
Amputated Checkpoint is the name of my new prog rock band.
I like to jump into the dirt because like you could get a little extra time by jumping to the left and it set you up better. Like you would land earlier and it would, yeah, it was just optimal in every way.
I think this dirt section is just like a masterpiece, honestly. I really love the way I built this. I'm just like saying my map is amazing now, but I really like how you reduce airtime here by going to the left. You land in the border really smoothly to like touch earlier, land earlier, and reduce airtime. Then it sets you up perfectly for the full steer. The full steer to the right goes into it's like really tricky to get, but then it's just a full steer to the left in the edge turn. So it's like really hard, but it's hard in a way that is really consistent. Shut up. It's really difficult in a way that is consistent because it's just your dirt skill. There's no like weird nonsense going on like the Lin map edge turn entry. It's just how well can you do this chicane? And you can always just like release to safety uphill and like you'll lose the gear. But speaking of gear balling, Rob did something really nice here. Is he added this, like this was a triangle before, but he did this thing where he added this like round thing here. So even if you drop the gear in the dirt turn, you will wait to gear up and then you'll gear up like right here. So then you're fine. So then you're not like getting screwed over in the gear in this section. So even if you drop the gear, it doesn't ruin the next part of the map. And that's what we mean by like the gear balling on some of these maps, where like if you drop the gear, you're just kind of screwed over for the next section. This grass turn is just kind of a grass turn, and then the dirt is like a really bumpy dirt section. I don't know. What do you think of the bumpy dirt, Nix?
I hated it at first, and then I started to really like it a lot because if you start with the grass, right? So starting from the grass, you have a snap into a nose slide,
I think
which
the nose
gives
slide
you a little
snap is
extra
interesting, yeah.
speed. If you go all the way to the right on the dirt, just because of the curvature of the block, you land in it pretty nicely.
Yep.
I don't like the fact that it feels like you should stick way inside, but then obviously if you do that, you're just not on a good line. I found it was like you have to go kind of 1/3 of the way into the block.
You have to go like right here and then weave your way around the bumps.
Yeah, but after you make it through the bumps, I really like the exit to it because I feel like you can do a slight snap into a nose slide again and get a little bit extra time. So
then we have this nice light here.
Which you can't do in rounds really consistently. I tried doing it once and died, but
yeah, it's not worth in rounds.
I think yeah, there's a lot of time that can be saved in here, and there's a lot of time that can be lost. So
now another thing about this grass turn is that it is also like a direction change into this, and then this is really interesting. I don't even know if this is intentional, but it's just like it's a really interesting nose slide because it's so unusual how it is. Because you like you nose slide like in the middle of the turn, then you like leave the nose slide again to do the transition. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. This transition specifically is stolen from Sophie, although I think she did it like with the reverse blocks. I think we accidentally used the wrong blocks, but it's still a cool transition. And then yeah, the finish, something that I did with the finish was I added this like triangle block here because we wanted to have the finish. If you were jumping here, you could like hit the top and that was annoying. And it'll also like flow better to be more left. So I threw in this like triangle block here so that even if you hit here, you'll like slide in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I like the finish.
And the finish was originally built by Rob. I just like added this one block.
I like the scenery for this map too because it has that feeling of everything being really tall.
Yeah, true.
Having a structure.
Yes, the scenery looks very, very cool.
Yeah, I do like the scenery as well. He was like doing a theme where it's like all black And
Yeah, but then the red signs are such a good complementary color, especially with the lot of dirt that you have as well.
yeah,
Very clean.
one thing, there a bit of lore. I added this because I had to rebuild this tower here because there was a different stuff here when I added this triangle. I put a pole here and an effect block. And apparently Rob had set a restriction for himself where there were no visible effect blocks. So like all the other effect blocks in the map are like hidden within things. And then I just went in here and he only noticed it after we published the map. I just like randomly threw an effect block up here having no clue. Totally clueless. And I just throw in the effect block.
Where are the
funny.
rest of the effect blocks?
They're all like block mixed into towers here like this.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Also, I really like these like turned off lamps. I think that's so smart. Like these light towers, it just adds a bit of detail without having a light.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was actually going to mention that if you look at the spectator booths, the tops of those were also turned off as well. So all the lights
true.
were just muted on this map, which is cool.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's
So it
interesting.
makes the route is the brightest thing on the entire map, which is very nice.
True, because it's like there's a lot of scenery, but it doesn't feel like it's as around you as the Lin map, for example, because it like feels more minimal, even though there's still a lot of blocks.
Your mic.
Nah, it's okay now. I think that was a very brief one.
I mean, it should be fine on OBS. So, Rob wants me to read the TMX description, so I'll pull that up.
Nice.
If you ever see a turtle atop a fence post, know they had help getting there. Today I am that turtle. Thanks for everyone's help on Jermaine. Written by Rob. Editor ++ stats. 21 hours, testing 18.
21 and a half hours.
Blackout theme. Rob, send the link to like the map file where you have all the shit on the side of the map.
Testing 18 and a half hours is insane too.
With the goal of making the very few red decorations stand out, while allowing the black shapes to fade out or morph together. Interesting. Deco is heavily inspired by my idol's Whiskey and Mephisto. Nice. I'd say you definitely succeeded in the decoration. Like, we were talking about it, and we were like kind of like, especially what Nix was saying was like a pretty similar thing to what you were going for, which is pretty impressive that that got communicated through the scenery without having to tell us. So I'll leave the map here quick. I would like to show the... I forgot to do this in the other earlier maps, but I was showing like the record at the beginning and the end on the Agra one. This is why he took so long to build it. He put all these random sections that he gave up on the side. So these were all the things that he like iterated through and like got rid of.
Dude, I remember building like this. Holy shit, dude! The last time I did that was
Actually schizo.
so long ago. But I did this as well. I was building sausage tech, and then I put like all these corners that kind of worked, but I don't know, like I didn't end up using them, and I didn't want to delete them, so I had like a lot of sausage blocks just on my map. For like, oh dude, that's so fucking funny.
I did this with the like fearing maps, the full speed transitional ones, where I would just like throw random transitions on the side. But eventually, like copy pasting that between maps to have them all saved was taking up more room than the actual track. So I ended up just like saving my unused things to a Discord channel instead. So yeah, that's the NAC map pack. I'll just like play the replay here again. Pretty good map pack for regional competition, honestly.
Oh shit, CD left.
Yeah, CD left a
Yeah.
little while ago.
I would say this might be one of the best regional map packs. I didn't play the last PATC,
At least for our region.
but yeah. I mean, yeah.
What?
EU has always had banger map packs
Yeah.
before, but I think this is up there because there also were some regionals and lands in EU that had some garbage. So, not garbage maybe, but you know.
I mean,
like,
I think these maps
yes.
can't be compared to the EU
What?
comps.
Hendo got the lift off in the world record.
Yeah, he did.
I would have had this world record too if it
You
weren't
guys
for-
both throw so much in the end compared to me. Like,
If
I
it
gained
weren't
so
for
much in
my
these
end,
last
yeah.
few turns.
Look, I get the no slide, saves time. And then I just jump really wide for some reason. For no good
Through.
reason at all.
I would like to point out one thing for Rob. I don't think this last third is too easy. I think it, like, you can still save a lot of time in it, judging by, let me turn on the script engine again so we can skip to the end of this replay. Like, look how far behind I am. And then, like, in the grass I gain a bunch. And then in the dirt, I'm gaining. And then I'm gaining again. So, like, I think the dirt is fine. Like, even if it is, like, slightly less decisive than, for example, the first two dirt sections, I think that's okay. As far, like, we said that, you said we wanted to make a tier list. Alright, what's the tier list? I think Germain and Outer Space go in, like, A+ or S tier.
I think
Yeah.
just Jermaine.
I think, like, Outer Space just has the one ice section that I don't like. So I
There's
kind of,
nothing
like, moved
happening in
down to A+
Outer Space, though.
personally. But it does have, like, some
Like-
really interesting combinations.
But it
Yeah,
doesn't
I mean,
matter.
I think both do interesting stuff, and both are. I would personally put them at the same tier, but I wouldn't put them in S tier, and the reason is because there's nothing extremely noteworthy about the maps.
I guess for, like, I was saying grading on a curve, but, like, not S tier in general. Like, they're probably, like,
Yeah,
A+ in general.
Sure,
Or, like, I'll say, like, Germain is A+, Outer Space is A.
sure.
And
Next map is probably
it's either Seashells or Cinderella.
yeah.
Wait, I just
The
realized
Lin
the
map, I
map
would
name.
say-
Look at this map name!
What?
He fucked
Oh,
up the dash.
messed it up.
That's funny.
Wait, no. Go to another one. The dashes are different on some of the other ones as well.
Are
I
they?
think there's like a double dash on one of them,
No, there's
right?
not.
Or no? Oh,
All
okay.
the others are
no,
the same.
The dash was before.
I'd rather play Cinderella in rounds. I'd rather play Seashells in time attack.
Yeah, I would say for a competition, the I don't know.
I think Seashells is also, like, more interesting. I don't know.
I would
I don't
put
like
both
either.
of them at like B+ tier.
I'd put him in C, honestly. Throw him
Really?
in C. I think they're a lot worse. Like, Germain and Outer Space would just, like, fit in with, like, a quality map pack like EMC or like a XP Evo or something. Although they're a little bit easy for that, maybe. And then these
Yes,
maps
I
are
don't
just
know.
so much worse.
The Lin map is okay. You know what? I'll agree. I'll agree. I guess.
I'm putting Kether in, like, D-.
F.
Look, it is a
It's not
map.
quite
It's
F.
just it's a random
Look,
like 90
Neil,
MC mixed map
Cast is F.
made in 2021.
Cast is F tier.
Yes.
Cast
This is not
like
as bad as
S tier.
Cast.
What? You're a
Cast is-
master of the
Cast-
two turns on that map. Just
Cast is
Jesus
S tier
Christ.
because I beat Nyx 4 rounds in a row.
It quite literally had 2 turns. That was
It
it.
had, like, 2.5 turns.
Yeah.
Okay, that map was total ass. I totally agree, but
Yeah.
at least it was
definitely
calculated.
S tier.
At least it didn't have gear issues.
This map doesn't have gear issue. Yeah.
It does. It has
does.
multiple issues.
I'd rather play this than Cast.
I'd rather play Cast than this.
But here's the
I-
problem: is I would.
but-
I
If I was
don't know.
playing a beginner comp, I'd play Cast.
I would play this map. I fucking hate Cast. And also, I just want to say, like, are we grading this like rating it based on your average mixed map? Because if we're just rating against like out of all maps,
I mean,
This is all
like,
D tier.
competition
This is-
mixed maps. So, like, S tier would be, like, whatever your favorite competition mixed maps are, and then F tier is Cast.
yeah.
Okay, so these are all like C to D tier in my opinion.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Wait, I mean, I think Germain and Outer Space are fine.
I think Outer Space gets B. I think your map gets A then.
Okay, sure.
But everything else
mean-
is just because you also need to know this was this competition was beginner and intermediate. Nothing about it was advanced, was it?
I mean, I don't think it's fair to dock the maps because they're easy, because like the point was that they're not supposed to be super hard. And I don't even think like Outer Space and Germain are too easy or anything. I think they're fine.
Yeah, I don't think that any of these maps are particularly easy.
Well, I think Germain and Outer. Well, Germain's not easy because I think that could pass as an EMC map.
Yeah.
It's an EMC level map right
Yeah.
there. Outer Space is all dependent on whether you keep the reactor dirt gear and the ice slide. There's nothing else
there's
to
a
it.
lot that matters on this map.
The tech map, the tech turn at the end, which is so simple after you have a lineup.
We like the tech turn.
Yeah, I like the tech turn.
Like you can
too,
risk the
I'm just saying
tech
it's not
turn a
hard.
lot. Maybe you're just
Yeah,
better
that's
at
what I'm
than
saying,
us
but it's
at
not
tech.
hard.
Maybe you're just
Yeah.
better than us at tech, but we like the last turn because you could like risk it so much by like
I
full
don't know.
steering in and
I
hitting
felt
the
like it was
apex.
pretty dead. The map was pretty dead.
Interesting. I don't know. I liked it. I just didn't like the ice. So I guess that's the end of our review of the North America Cup map pack, with like different people coming in and out over the course of it. But hopefully this will be a nice mapping resource for competition mappers. I will link in the description a link to a post that I made on my website after playing the Duo Cup map, the NCSA Duo Cup maps, that competition with Nyx, because I was really mad at those maps. Those maps sucked. They did, Nyx, okay? Like, Nyx can vouch for me. I'm just not just whining. Those maps are ass.
I would say they're definitely a tier lower, yes.
But I think they had their own specific map taste. They all fit the same.
They all
Yeah.
felt like they were on the same tier. That's the
Yeah.
interesting thing.
That's the interesting
why
thing,
it
yeah,
worked.
you're right.
It
They're
worked
like
for a
kind of
reason
like
because they all fit each other.
they were
This is all
similarly
different.
bad.
It's kind of like how the World Tour map packs work, because all the maps.
Yeah, they ask you to drive a certain way for every map. When a map pack is like this, how like you have Germain, and then you have Outer Space, and then you have Kether, you just want to shoot yourself.
Yeah,
in,
it sucks
like,
when one
game.
map, the quality is just so clearly worse.
Yeah. But this is a review of the Dual
40
Cup
map
map pack.
hour, like it's one of those YouTube videos where the thumbnail is like $1 versus $1,000 stake. Like you have the $1 like mixed map versus $100 mixed map for yours. So
But yeah, I'll
Damn,
link
you went
this.
to Fiverr for your map pack, huh?
This is just like some yapping about mapping for rounds, and that'll be useful if you want to get some more information on that. But yeah,
Oh.
thanks for watching, I guess, or something. I don't know.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for watching, Whiskey. Bye. Oh, I should have just
You
left
would
it.
be better at this after making a bunch of these videos.
Look, I don't know how to end anything, okay?
Well, I can tell.
stop the stream.
Yeah, abrupt stream in. That's the only way to do it.